Right, Pete Vogt is here. He is in the building. I've asked Pete just to give us a little update on where we are with COVID. We all heard that the third wave is looming or maybe here. And so Pete is going to bring us up to date with a couple of thoughts. Thanks, Pete.
Good morning, everyone. This is just a bit of a pep talk and an encouragement to us to not slack out as we can. You know, this has been going for sort of 14, 15 months, and I think we're all tired of it, but we mustn't get tired. Tuesday morning, the 1st of June, the UK that was the first day in the UK in a year with no COVID deaths registered. Okay, they will have fits and starts of COVID deaths still coming, but it just shows what they've achieved by their interventions and their preventions and their treatment of COVID-19, especially in personal sort of protection, in social protection, and then in vaccination. Worldwide, new cases of COVID are still going up, especially in the third world, and that includes Africa. And in South Africa, we are in our third wave. We are experiencing the third wave, and that includes the Midlands. We've had one school closed down, and the government is meeting with at least one school next week to see if they're going to be closing them down. So we are at that worrying stage. We need to be more vigilant. We are seeing more patients at the practice who are positive. Some people quite ill enough to be hospitalized. So again, you know, it just says to us, we need to be careful. And as a church, we must stick to those behavioral interventions that we know work. They've been proven over in various countries. You had lots of people shouting against various ones, but these, I want to say there's 6 that work. Hands, face, space, time, ventilate and vaccinate. They really do work. Hands, wash hands frequently. The alcohol-based sanitizers really work. Make sure when you do it, you get a nice spray in there. Try not to touch the bottle. Ideally, you should use your foot, or an attendant should give you the bottle. Try and get a nice, and do your fingers. So I get a thing that I do my fingers. I wash onto that one. I do that side. You get your fingertips or your worst one. That's what we touch in with all the time. So use those, please. Don't rub it off. Let it dry out. That's the way the alcohol works, is by desiccating, by drying it out. When you get home and you take your mask off, or you get home and you haven't been wearing a mask, you're in the car, wash your hands. Okay. So that's hands. Face. Masks are essential. And a mask must cover my nose and my mouth. Must go over, ideally over the chin, so it covers completely. A mask must be 2 layers, ideally, if it's material. So a buff is not a sufficient mask unless you wear 2 buffs. It must have 2 layers, and I need 2 layers of different material that can filter out a bit. The mask must sit nicely and must move when you breathe. Then it's ventilating, it's going through. You're actually breathing through that mask. Face shields can be used in addition to a mask, but you can see they don't work because I've got a face shield here, the air's coming in and out here. So a face shield can be used in addition, but it doesn't replace a mask. We use that a lot for big droplet spread, but masks are essential. Time. I said time as one there. Just, if you speak to someone, don't be longer than 5 to 10 minutes. You know, it's, even in a shop, you see someone, greet them, and I'll come to distance now, but don't sit around. Someone goes in someone's garage and speaks to them for 40 minutes in the garage. After 15 minutes, the time becomes crucial in how long you're with that person. Space. The UK say 1.5 to 2 meters. So my arm length and arm length. So I must be standing there and he's standing there. That distance, again, for droplet spread is important. So just think of that space. You're not being impolite. You're actually being practical. Ventilate. Here, we shouldn't sit in huddles here and speak. We should go outside and speak. And you still have your distance, but ventilation is good. If you're in a shop and it's a tight corner and you meet someone in a tight corner, get out of that tight corner. Ventilation is good. Vaccinate. We realistically, hundreds of millions of people in the world have been vaccinated. Okay, realistically, with minimal side effects. There have been the occasional side effects of this clotting and occasional side effects of a cardiac thing, but they are minimal. COVID is a puffy illness. We see the cardiac side effect, we see clotting. In patients in the ICU for COVID, is either for 2 things, respiratory, or he's for disseminated intravascular coagulation, the clotting. So if you worry about, I see patients that have had clots, must they be vaccinated? Yes, because if they get COVID, they've got more chance of clotting with COVID than with a vaccine. After the first dose of the currently used vaccine here, Pfizer, you have an 80% protection. So if I have 100 people who've been vaccinated, after 2 weeks, when it clicks in, 80% of them will not get it if I give them the virus. 20% of them might get it, but none of those will get ill enough to go to hospital or ill enough to die. So it's proven its things. This week, Thursday, was a nice day for me because Beth, Dr. Pizer's wife, Dr. Stead's wife, and Dr. Cook's wife all went together 2 weeks ago on Thursday and had their vaccine at Umgeni Hospital. We cannot recommend it more than that. I think that speaks wonders. COVID is not a nice illness. We must take these measures, including vaccination, to protect ourselves and to protect those around us. We'll carry on meeting like at a church like this, but week by week, we're going to have to just look and see when is it too unsafe and that sort of thing. Yeah. And commit these measures which people have developed. Some of those people who've developed vaccines do not know that God is a provider of those gifts, but we do. Okay, so let's commit that into the Lord's hands and let's be vigilant with each other here and with friends outside. Thanks.